Too much money is.
What's up, everybody? Good morning. Iron Minds in the house on Tuesday morning. What's up, fellas?
It's going
Good
down.
morning, man. Man, am I glad to be here.
Congrats
Good
to
to be
you
here.
on your marathon, my friend.
That's right. Congrats, dude.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Yes, fifth year in a row doing Austin. Eighth
Go.
just marathon total. 10 if you count the two at Ironman. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
Nice, dude. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I was checking in for the PR, see what you did. You got a 5-minute PR, I believe, is what you ended up doing, right?
In this game, the PRs will start to get smaller and smaller the faster you get. You start fighting
Yeah.
for a little bits of time. I mean, just shaving off your mile splits and stuff, and is something that gets a little bit more difficult, which is perfectly fine. And that's Austin's a tough course in itself. There's over 1,000 feet of gain, no matter how you chop it up. It's got some pretty good. It's got a lot of hills. Like it's a hilly course. It's not easy. So if I picked a different race, could the same effort probably get me a better time? Sure. It's just a matter of finding those races, but that's why there's course records and overall records for people, and for people who do this professionally, it's always important. Like that race on Sunday. I mean, both male and female broke the course record, which is pretty phenomenal, and so it happens all the time. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what's to come. All eyes on the Ironman, and now in May, that's what I do. So take a couple days here, shake it out, get some recovery, and then it's time to get on the saddle, man.
What do you think over the course of 26 miles? A 5-minute PR is like 10 seconds a mile. So you're really just fighting. You're fighting for those seconds every mile. And
if you think about,
up.
I was gonna say, if you think about Kipchoge when he broke his own world record by something like 30 seconds, I mean, the precision you're talking about, like just over 1 second per mile. That's a sip of water.
Yeah. And you have to realize, like, even especially the super fast guys, like, even the people running the half marathon, like if you just miss a step, if you skip, if you hit the water station wrong, somebody gets you, because it's a course too. There's other people out there, so somebody gets in your way. If you step on a rock, like the littlest thing can bump up your split by 5 seconds, and boom, there goes whatever your goal you want it is. So it really gets harder and harder, and it gets more precise. That's the thing. It's like none of it's gotten any easier. Like yesterday was just as hard as the first one I did 5 years ago. Like it hurt. Maybe it didn't hurt as much on like the legs at first, because the first one I felt like my legs were in like concrete, and it just took a long time. But it does not. The better you get, the easier it doesn't get. I could do that distance a lot slower, maybe easier, but to really give it your all, it's still harder.
Doesn't get easier, we just get better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, congrats on completing that race. It's awesome, dude. It's good to see you in Vegas last week too, man.
Yeah,
you and Chris for a little bit.
And that was another thing. I didn't have the most traditional taper headed into that race. It was a lot of miles on the road with Chris Thomas, and then being up on the feet. High energy all week at Manifest. It manifests itself. Conferences like that are a marathon in itself. Wednesday alone, 30,000 steps. Talking nonstop. I mean, there's a lot of mental and physicality to just going to those conferences and shows and being engaging and talking to everybody there. So it's like, and then boom, I didn't get home till Thursday night. But that's the thing. I'm not. It's not my full time job. I'm doing it for the love of the game. So it's like I can't get too upset over it.
Did you fly home or did you ride with Chris home? You flew home, right?
No, I flew home.
Yeah, I figured you did. Yeah, yeah, very good. Well, I had a long week too, but it was a very rewarding week. I got to go to Oakland for 2 days with our boy Tyson Lawrence, shoot some video for him, and then flew home Friday. And we had our Disciple Now weekend at church for our youth, for our students, and they needed another youth leader, so I got to be with the 10th grade boys. And so that was good, but man, by Sunday, I was exhausted. I was pretty tired. It was a long week. Basically, Sunday to Sunday.
Let's go.
Something. So
Pedro's outside getting after it. The weather. Winter is definitely over here in Texas. Pedro, let's check in. How you doing, big dog?
Man, I'm doing phenomenal, and it does feel like it's over here in Texas. I was just talking to my wife yesterday, saying, "Wow, we didn't really get much of a winter, did we?" I think when I checked the weather and walked outside, it was like 69 degrees with an 8-hour wind. So it feels amazing, and I didn't have quite the eventful week as you two young men did, but had a good last week. Sorry I missed the show last week. I thought I was going to be able to get on, but my carrier canceled, and I spent half my day trying to unscrew a situation. So fun times, but everything else is great.
You guys had a little bit of a winter. You had a little ice storm earlier back in
January.
January.
But it ain't even been any cold weather, brother. I mean, Lombard can attest. I think we had like maybe 2 weeks of sub 50-degree temperatures. So
you live in Texas,
Well, we usually get it. Our winter usually starts in January, and we get it from like January to March. But we had nothing, so I ain't complaining. I like to be outside doing stuff, working with my hands. So the more warm weather we get, the more chance I can do that.
I hear you. We've actually warmed up. It's going to be 70 degrees tomorrow, 71, I think, on Thursday. And we'll dip back down to the 50s with some freezing temperatures at night. But we got some warm weather here. All of our snow's melted, but it's always nice to, living in the Midwest. Lombard, you know this. And living in the Midwest, it's always nice to think about spring and the newness of that, and the leaves on the trees and the green. Always nice knowing that's coming around.
It is coming around. We got also, by the way, my Garmin watch this morning. It wished me a nice, happy Lunar New Year, which I think we sometimes forget. So we've got a Lunar New Year, and fun. Interestingly enough, this is a time of there's this person we know who's really dialed in on the astrology stuff, and not only is it a Lunar New Year, but around this time frame, 2026. We're also completing one galactic year. Now, what does that mean? That's a year it takes our solar system to finish a complete revolution around the Milky Way, like around the center of the galaxy we're in, which happens every like 20,000 or so years. So there's a lot of new beginnings, a lot of newness. Lunar New Year, freaking Galactic New Year, pretty hype.
New Year.
Yeah,
pretty
hype
stuff.
What, Nick?
So I missed it, so I have to wait 20,000 years to catch the next one. Damn it!
Exactly.
My
so we're
question is, do we need to party like it's $29.99?
Feels like we're living in an episode of Star Wars, a Galactic New Year. Let's go.
Feels like we're
exactly a Galactic New Year. So happy. Yeah, some people in the neighborhood were letting off some fireworks. I don't know. There's some good lore about Lunar New Year and stuff. Stuff people do and traditions. I guess in Chinese cultures, stuff like that. It's the year of the horse, man. So whatever that means, whatever the horse means to you, it's time to get charging.
The year of the horse. Ooh, charging. Yeah, I like that. It's time for the cavalry to come in and get after it.
It is. We were riffing in the Slack group yesterday, which if anybody listening to this watching, we've got a Slack group where we're talking, and gentleman was in there asking about motivation. Again, getting I think it's a good time. It is the middle of February. It's still the freaking dog days of winter for a good portion of the country, and the year is in full swing. Like this is the dust is settled from any sort of celebrations, holidays, um, end of January, and motivation's tough. I think it's what people. It's very easy to lose, and I think it's what we rely on most when it comes to living healthier lifestyles. And for some people on the outside looking in, when they look at maybe us, or Nick, myself, they might think that again we just got lucky or something. That must have been, but those are lies that we tell themselves. And when it comes to finding motivation, I mean, I dropped some paragraphs in there on what keeps me motivated. I related to history, what we've got related it to family, everything else. But what about you guys? How are you guys staying dialed in and motivated?
I keep thinking about it's a weird thought, dude, but I keep thinking about we were at the dinner table last night talking about this with my kids. In 10 years from now, I could have multiple grandkids. 10 years. My oldest will be 28, my youngest will be 16 or 26. We have multiple grandkids at that point. Man, I want to be on the ground. I want to be throwing them around, taking them places, not getting tired. It's like for me, my motivation has really switched to the kind of person I'm going to be in 5 to 10 years when we have grandbabies rolling around here, and the energy level that I want to have, and what I want them to think of grandpa, and how long I want to be around. And it's like, man, it's weird to think about, but that's not that far away, and that's always been on my mind the last year as we've been transitioning Hannah out. She turns 18 on Tuesday next week. She turns 18, so she's pretty much there. And now I just keep thinking, like, man, we're not that far away from being grandparents, and what kind of grandparents do you want to be? What kind of energy you want to have? That's what motivates me right now is myself 10 years from now.
Let's go. What about you, Nick, Pedro? How are we staying locked in?
I'll bite. You'll be surprised by my answer. I'm not motivated. I'm not motivated, and I'm not disciplined. I say live inspired because it's literally the way that I live my life. I look at all the things that try to hold me back, and like a rebellious teenager, I throw a temper tantrum, and I say I'm going to go do this shit. If I don't have goals in front of me, I don't do things. I retreat back into my shell. So, kind of like Trey, I've decided the person that I want to be, and I take actions to be that person. But I can't tell you that it's ever easy. Not a single day in my life have I woken up, threw my feet in the floor, and was like, "Good morning, God, let's go." It's never been that way. I'm on the bike now, looking at my watch every 22 seconds. Like, is this shit over with yet? So I'm motivated because I came to find my purpose in life, which is to overcome every obstacle and inspire others they can too. So I just set big goals and I do things. You might call it motivation. You might call it the standard. You might call it a way of life, a standard of living. But I don't almost ever feel the same fire in my belly that I think people talk about when they're seeking motivation. It's just the way that I want to live my life and the actions that I take to do it.
Dude, Logan says,
That's why
honesty.
nobody
I
likes you,
love that.
Nick. Because you always get perfect answers.
Yeah, Logan, you're right. Discipline does equal freedom. That is very true. Charles, good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning.
I guess if I just add one more thing, I've seen the opposite. I have lived the other life, and so I know that way sucks. So whether it's motivation or a choice, I've been the guy who let his excuses keep him on the couch, get 240 pounds overweight, become a womanizing alcoholic, becoming just a resentful, excuse-laden person who was hurt and sick all the time without doing anything. So I've lived that life, and it's an easy choice to take the other route.
Nick, you make a good point. Life is hard either way. The question is, which hard do we want? which hard are we willing to endure? The difficult, the hard that comes with staying, in shape and getting after it, or the hard that comes with not and having to suffer the consequences, That is how it is. Hey,
What
Pedro,
about you, Pedro?
Me,
You inspired and motivated.
I wanted to. I would like to say what Trey said and be healthy for my grandkids, but I won't have any. So instead, I'm going to quote a friend of mine that I was talking to the other day. We were talking about health and fitness, and they had a journey for a while. They've been healthy for a while, but his motivation and his why was, he said, "I want to die on my feet." I was like, "Man, it's a weird thing to say." And he said, "No, think about it, man." He was like, "Do you want to die laying in your bed with someone taking care of you? You can't move, you can't do anything. You just been laying there. You haven't enjoyed life in 6 months, a year, whatever it is, because you didn't take care of yourself. You ate the wrong things. You smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. You didn't exercise." He's like, "No." He's like, "That's not me, man." He's like, "I want to die on my feet. I want to die moving around, and that's how I want to go." And I was like, "Man, that's a good one." When it comes to what mine is, man, it's honestly simply health, guys. Like I just want to be able to get up and move and do the physical things I want to do without being limited, other than my disabilities, and not being in pain and not having to ask someone else to do things for me. And I want to be able to enjoy time with my wife, man. Just be healthy. You can't enjoy life if you're not healthy, right? Like if you're not moving around, you're not in good health, you can't get out and do things, enjoy this time. Like, how are you enjoying it? I mean, maybe some people enjoy it sitting on a couch staring through a window, but I think the four of us and most people out there, we want to be out in the world enjoying it. And for that, you got to be healthy.
Dude, I haven't heard that before. Dying on your feet. I like that. And speaking of which, rest in peace to Robert Duvall, the actor who I grew up with, man. Like I feel like I need to go watch Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise and Robert Duvall. Passed away yesterday at the ripe old age of 96. And that guy, talking about being on your feet. I remember when I watched Days of Thunder, he was probably 65 in that movie, 60, something like that. And here he is, the ending credits. He's racing, sprinting against Tom Cruise to the finish line. Like, what a great picture. What a very symbolic picture of what we're talking about this morning.
I wish I talked to you yesterday. That would have been a great movie to watch on the bike this morning. Damn it. All right, Thursday, Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder, that's right. And so a movie I remember fondly with my dad. My dad was big into racing. And so even though there's some parts of that movie that probably aren't appropriate for a 10-year-old boy, still brings back a lot of really great memories watching that movie of racing with my dad. So, rest in peace, Robert Duvall.
Pretty sure he was in the movie Secondhand Lions as well.
He was in a lot of really
that's
great
where
films.
that was a good one. I'm not going to say the scene, but that was a really good one.
Yeah, he was in a lot of great films. Really great actor. In fact, I saw somebody yesterday post about in Days of Thunder, he has a 1-minute scene where he is talking to the car, and it's believable. You actually feel like it's a conversation between him and the car, and that's a special kind of acting right there to make that believable. So
when he was like, "I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to give you that."
Charles says he was 59 years old in Days of Thunder.
Wow.
And Charles, you know what I'm talking about, that scene in the end of the movie right before the credits where, Tom Cruise says, "Can you walk or do I need to carry you?" And he goes, "Where to?" And Tom Cruise says, "Victory Lane." And he goes, "Walk. I'll race your ass." And then they get up. He takes off down the pit lane, and just a really special moment in that movie. Just all out sprinting at 59 years old. I mean, it was impressive then. It's impressive now to look back on, that's for sure.
There is one thing that comes to mind that does motivate me, which is progress. And what I mean by that, and Pedro, I think you can equate as you relate, as you continue to share, your goals and your progress. Every win makes me want to go get another one. Every time that I did something I didn't think I could do, every barrier I break, every weight loss, every mile or something, just motivates me to go do the next one and inspires me to do more.
That's why they have next race signups at the finish line of the current race you're running.
Yep.
They know that feeling, man. As soon as you finish one, you're like, "Oh, what's next? What's next?"
Get them while they're high.
And I've been able to have a front row seat that habit from coaching at Orange Theory. We had several members, this year do they did the half marathon in Austin, on Sunday, and it was their first race. And now I've been at these studios for 2.5 years, and these are members, and so these are people I've known who 2 years ago, I've been trying to, because that's the thing with me. You hang around me, I'm toxic like that. You hang around me in person long enough, like you're gonna
You're
sign up for
signing for a marathon.
something. Yeah, you're
That's
gonna
right.
sign up for something. You're gonna start like I'm just gonna keep convincing you to chase after something. I've seen, and this is predominantly women too. They have completed their first and going from I could never met, like literally never, for longer than a year. I'm talking like up until like towards the end, like fall of last year. There's, we had one female member who was still like, there's just no way my heart rate's so high. You see me during Orange Theory, everything. I've heard it all. I've heard every excuse in the book as to why, and here they are showing up on race day, doing the half marathon. Now already talking about the next, like again, repeatedly saying like I can't, telling me to my face I can't. There's really just no way. I just don't see myself doing it. Like getting through this 1 hour class is hard enough as it is, and they've completely, once again, broken through those limits. And they're not just lucky. They didn't just get lucky. They weren't motivated the whole time. They didn't just do it. There's no luck involved. It has everything to do with the choices.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And they're gonna look back and they're gonna tell people about running that marathon and completing that goal. It's gonna be one of those pivotal moments for their life. They say they've always done it. Incredible.
100%.
Yeah, hanging around Lombard too long is toxic. I'm just gonna let you guys know that, but toxic in the best possible way. That's for sure. But speaking of which, did you guys get a chance to do karaoke in Vegas? I'm so bummed I didn't get that one out. I saw that you guys may have found a spot.
And I ended up audibling on the karaoke once you said once you were down and out. But I think a couple of people did end up going to another place after that night. But I didn't know who was going or if it was legit. But we'll have to save it for Matt's, dude. We'll have to save it for Mid America.
Yeah, I was bummed about that, but the show must go on, so sure they found the spot. That's for sure.
I know. I was ready to really whip out some Sabrina Carpenter.
I know, man. You just have to keep rehearsing that and getting ready for that moment. It's coming. It's coming. That's for sure.
Keep rehearsing. That is a good way to think about our day-to-day activities as a rehearsal. It's to keep rehearsing. We're always practicing. There's no.
You're rehearsing for that race that Lombard is eventually going to talk you into signing up for.
That's right.
Yeah, there is no perfection over it. You've always got to practice. Just like, I mean, think about Robert Duvall. We're just talking about him. For him to, still acting. I mean, the guy was still making movies up until very recently.
Yes.
And to be able, and again, you still have to get those roles. Like, I'm sure that there's people who want him and know his niche, know what kind of roles he can do. But you still got it. But if he's not alert, if he wasn't there for the roles that they needed, I mean, a movie's not going to bankroll millions of dollars on, just a name. Like, oh, Robert Duvall's in it. Let's have him go up there and freaking drag knuckles and drool on the set floor while he dropped millions of dollars. No, he had to have some level of alertness or vigor to be able to perform at that level. Again, at the Hollywood level, not like some B-list movie. He still had to perform at that level in some way, shape, or form, in some capacity, for them to spend millions of dollars on a role he's supposed to do. So
4 years ago. 4 years ago was his last role, The Pale Blue Eye, at the age of 91. And on top of that, 7 years earlier, at the age of 84, he was nominated for an Oscar in The Judge.
Yeah,
so
you're not getting
just hustling.
Oh yeah.
You're not getting nominated for Oscars if you're freaking, if you're chained to a bed and basically just like breathing to stay alive.
That's right. Dude was hustling still at the age of 84, 85, 91. I heard a fun fact recently. I didn't know this. John Tyler, our 10th president, I just learned this fact. He had a grandson that was alive as late as last year. And he was born during George Washington's first term. And so his family spanned 3 generations covering all the presidents of the United States so far. How crazy is that?
Yeah, people think that people think we're so disconnected from our past. There's same thing. I
3
saw
generations.
there's a video of a guy from the 50s. It's and this gentleman is in the 1950s. This gentleman was giving an interview talking about his grandfather who met Napoleon on St. Helena, like made the journey and did it. So this is his grandfather, and so this guy's alive in the 1950s. So both world wars, and his own grandfather is, and think about the transition of like, history, political history from like the Napoleonic Wars to the 1950s. Like I mean, we're talking going from kingdoms and duchies to and everything to like
modern democracies and republics.
yeah, all that stuff. And this guy's in the 1950s talking about his grandfather. I mean, that's the same thing as my grandfather telling me about freaking Lombard trucking in the 1920s and 1920s and 30s. And this guy's like, yeah, my grandfather went to St. Helena to meet Napoleon and, talked about how freaking brilliant he was. And this guy's in the 1950s. We are not that far gone from our ancestors to be able to accomplish the things that they did.
Well, John Tyler apparently had a son, I think, and he was 60 or 70. I can't remember which one. And then his son had a son at 60 or 70, one of the two. I can't remember which one is which. And so 130 years span between his birth and his grandson's or great-grandson's, grandson's birth. And that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy to think about.
That was one of the things I put in the Slack group yesterday is about like history definitely motivates me, and you've seen it in a lot of my early running content. I mean, I talk about the, phenomenal feats of, the armies of yesterday. I bring up, one often about, Grant's army and the Vicksburg campaign. They marched 200 miles in 17 days. They won 5 battles in the Mississippi summer with wool uniforms. They didn't have any sorts of dialed in nutrition. They're relying on, trains and horse and carriages to bring them supplies. And somehow these like nobodies, you figure the Union Army all the time, they could be people from anywhere, starving people coming out the boat from freaking Ireland or something. And they're like running ultra marathons and winning like, freaking close order battle drill battles in the US South, and they're winning. And they were able to do that, and we're really complicating just the idea of like going out for walks and maybe eating a few less calories and eating protein. Like when you really look at what some of our ancestors were able to do with so much less resources, like we have more gyms per capita than anywhere in the world. We have every access between apps. You have every access to information, and we're complicating the idea of, oh, I just need to walk more and eat more protein and less of this, and I can really realistically have the body I want and feel the way I want to feel. It's like when you really zoom out 30,000 feet and see what other people have been able to do with so much less, then you have no excuse.
Yeah, there aren't any excuses these days that would even remotely be legit. Ooh, Charles reminded us that Robert Duvall did all 3 Godfather movies to Lonesome Dove. Man, what a career that guy had.
Consigliere.
I feel like I got to go back and watch some movies just in honor. Got to throw a few on the telly in honor of Mr. Duvall, who had a remarkable career and definitely died on his feet, as Pedro said. What a career that guy had. Crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, we're coming up on our 30 minutes here. Boys, it's always good to see you. It's always good to get out of bed knowing I get to hang out with you guys for a little while. Lombard, congrats on the marathon, on the PR. Got the Ironman coming up in May, not too far away. So getting started probably on the training on that already. After you get comfortable from the marathon. Pedro continuing to work over there in Texas, working towards those goals. And Nick on the bike, hating every minute of it. I love it. Let's go. Got to get after it. Folks, remember, find your tribe, find your group. As one person sharpens another, that's how iron sharpens iron. That's exactly what we're doing here. So help make each other better. And we'll see you guys right back here next Tuesday on Iron Minds. Peace, everybody.
Let's
Thanks
go.
for joining us, Charles. Thanks for the fun facts. Appreciate it, bro.